Welcome to Weight Loss and Wellness for Real, the podcast where people like you get the practical solutions and support you need to permanently lose the physical and mental weight so you can feel better and live the life you really want to live in the body and mind you really want to be living in. If you're looking to overcome your stress eating, overeating, binging behaviors, and move to a place of food and body freedom, as well as find more meaning and more moments of joy in life, you are in the right place. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here and listening to Weight Loss and Wellness for Real. I'm Heather Heinen, and today we're going to dive into a topic that has come up again and again in my coaching work, in my own life, and in conversations with so many of you. And that is this: what if the goal was not actual weight loss? What if the goal was instead? Because here's the thing. I mean, I've thought about this a lot and worked with clients and myself on this a lot. And there's such a positive outcome to this. When you shift your mindset to aging strong, and I mean really shift it, it changes the way you eat, the way you move, the way you rest, the way you talk to yourself, and even the way you measure progress. And honestly, it has been one of the most powerful mindset shifts I have ever made. And not only personally, but it's something I really see transforming the lives of my clients too. And this is something that I think right now I'm going to be shifting into this different mindset with my podcast, with social media, just at an age where I am so tired of watching so many women struggle trying to be smaller, to find a particular number on the scale. And this doesn't mean I'm not about, not learning ways to lose weight if you actually, for health, need to lose weight. What I'm saying is, I see and work with a lot of women who are in beautifully perfect functional bodies, and this was for me for such a long time too, and they're constantly driven and thinking and obsessed over getting to a specific number on the scale, when where they are right now, if they just switch to the mindset of staying strong and staying healthy, would literally give them so much more freedom. And this is the paradox, probably ultimately get them to that number that they want on the scale. Obviously, I'm getting really passionate about this because obviously this is where I am at in life right now, right? I'm 51 years old, going on 52. I'm not going to pretend that this isn't a part of it. This is my own experience. So it's what I'm excited about right now. It's what I'm really passionate about right now. I also have a daughter who is 18 years old, and I do not want her to spend her next 25 years of her life thinking about weight and food and her body and all the things, all the time that I wasted, that I did. I just don't want her to go through that. I feel like it's such a waste of time. So I just feel like if we, as women in particular, in our 40s, 70s, 80s, and beyond, can start to really do this mental shift of aging strong and aging healthy, and not this thing of I'm trying to get smaller, I'm trying to get this weird number on the scale. I also think, this can influence the younger generation of women out there, our daughters, our nieces, and just really help shift the whole culture. So that's what I'm feeling passionate about these days. This is why I'm going to take a shift in this. And I'm also in all this really contemplating changing the name of my podcast. Know, I mean, I know that the weight loss in the title gets people to my podcast. That's why I named it that way. So I'm a little like, okay, maybe keep it in there so I can, keep a bigger audience and bring new people coming around and kind of hook them with that weight loss into this new, kind of hook them with the weight loss title and sort of hook them into this new mindset. But also, I'm thinking, I just maybe change the name of the podcast to something along the lines of aging strong and take out that whole word weight loss. Anyway, I have no idea what I'm going to do with that yet. Hey, if you have an opinion on that, I know a lot of you are long time listeners and you're kind of in this community. So if you have an opinion on that or any ideas, please feel free to, you can head to my website and contact me from there. You can, um, slip into my comments or DMs on my social media. It's Heinen Counseling and Coaching on Instagram. Heinen is spelled Heynen, and just Heather Heinen on Facebook. But go over there, give me your opinion. Let me know what you think about that, about changing the title of this and kind of rebranding things a bit. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about the problem with the old mindset. Let's start with where many of us begin, myself included. We grow up with the message that health means being smaller. I grew up in the 80s, 90s, and that was a whole thing. I'm sure many of you listening remember that. It was a whole thing to be really waif-like, to be super, super skinny. And I definitely was not built that way. But it was really this message that thinner equals better. Many of us get sucked into the diet culture mindset that says if we just lose weight, we're going to be happier, more confident, more capable. And that leads to years, sometimes decades, of chasing that number on the scale, bouncing between programs, yo yo dieting, starting over every Monday, and just feeling like we're failing over and over again. And listen, I really do get it. The mindset is not your fault. That messaging is everywhere, but it's not helping us thrive. It's not setting us up for strength and vitality in our 50s, 60s, and beyond. Because here's what I see with so many women in midlife: they're tired of dieting, but still stuck in the I need to lose weight loop. They're doing way too much cardio, they're eating way too little, and wondering why they feel fatigued and stuck. They've lost some muscle, maybe gained some fat, and they're frustrated, but also really unsure what to do differently. And this is where the mindset of aging strong really can become a game changer. So, what aging strong, what does it really mean? What does it mean to age strong? It means prioritizing muscle over thinness. So, that's number one, prioritizing muscle over thinness. It means fueling for function and energy, not just for aesthetics. Big one. Mindset fueling for function and energy, not just for aesthetics. It means training to protect your joints, boost your metabolism, and keep doing the activities you love. So that may be climbing, like me, biking, hiking, skiing, walking well into your later years. It means focusing on resilience, physical, mental, and emotional. And it's not about being perfect, it's about consistency, it's about self respect, and it's about playing the long game. So what might be some daily strategies in general that we're looking at for aging strong? So let's talk about what it looks like in real life, because I love the mindset piece, but I also want to give you real tangible takeaways. When we talk about food, we're practicing the new mindset of this is fuel to build and not shrink. You need more protein than you probably think. I've been singing this literally for 25 years now. A good target is, if you are, aging athlete, a really good target is going to be 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. For those of you who are maybe carrying a little extra weight, then it's going to be 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass, right? So you really want to look at that protein intake. It really is so important. And by the way, just a little side note here, as we age, we actually need more. So you also want to think about timing of that. You really do want it spread throughout the day. We've got lots of research studies that this is very evidence based. This is not as important in your 20s, maybe your early 30s, but I'm just telling you, the evidence out there, as we age, the protein timing is important. Okay. Often you're going to hear like, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you get the amount in. Well, here's the deal. Optimally, you are timing it throughout the day. Maybe every 3 to 4 hours, you're ingesting 30 to 40 grams of, well, depends on what your daily goal is, your body weight and all that kind of thing. But to maintain that muscle mass, you want to be consuming protein at different spread out throughout the day. Less optimally, but still great, would be the goal of getting in however much. So I'm about 120 pounds. I'm fairly lean-ish, And so I'm trying to get in 120 grams of protein every day. I've gotten really skilled at this. I've been practicing this a long time because, yes, getting in protein is really, really tough. I have lots of podcasts, lots of PDF strategies, things like that out there for people to use because getting protein in like that, it really is a skill. You really have to practice it, build the habit, build the skill. But what I'm doing then is I'm 4 times a day getting in 30 grams of protein. So it's just something you want to think about. If I was going to be a little less optimal, I still want to get that 120 grams in. Maybe I'm doing that within 2 meals or something like that. But optimally, as I'm aging, to maintain that muscle, I am going to work at every 3 to 4 hours, getting in about 30 grams of protein, 4 meals a day. All right, enough of that one. Next one, you really want to include some fiber rich carbohydrates for energy, blood sugar balance. Think fruits, veggies, lentils, oats, quinoa. Um, this is a big one. I'm going to do another podcast on this in regards to carbs. You need them. Okay. They're really important, especially for women in midlife. If you're perimenopause, you really do not want to be skipping complex fiber rich carbohydrates. You do not want to be lowering your carbohydrate intake. So, men, it appears right now with what we know, it appears men can get away with lower carb diets. But for women, our hormones, perimenopause, menopause, all those things, from what I've read, from what I know, and I go deep, I read these research articles, I know how to read research articles. That is not what we are finding for women. Okay. And I've had a lot of women who come to me, they've been doing keto or these wicked low carb diets. And, they've been doing them, I don't know, year, 2 years, three, they're not sleeping at all. They're having these crazy perimenopause symptoms. And it's just like, oh my goodness, can we just get you some carbs so that you can produce some serotonin and hit the GABA receptors and maybe actually get some sleep, maybe actually get some anyway, that's a whole other thing I could be on my soapbox about, but I'll do another podcast episode on that. Okay. Do not skimp on healthy fats. They really support our hormones and brain as we age. And do not chronically undereat. I've shared my story in the past. This was me forever under eating. And then that's what set me up for binging. And then I would chronically undereat and then binge and in that cycle, and it wrecked my thyroid and, all these things. Do not chronically undereat. If you are out there in your 20s and 30s listening to this, I am telling you, you feel like in your 20s and 30s you're getting away with it. It does and will catch up to you. It does and will catch up to you. I implore you as a woman, if you're in your 20s, do not chronically undereat. Undereating leads to muscle loss, slower metabolism, poor sleep, and a lot more stress on your body. And I'll tell you, when I made protein and muscle building the priority in my own life, I really saw a massive shift in energy, athletic performance, but also mental performance, like at my job, doing these things. I do a lot of writing, and I also saw a big shift in body composition. And I was eating more and more often, not less. All right, strength and movement. You really, right now, wherever you are at, you want to build what you want to keep. So at minimum, you are strength training 2 to 4 times, well, at minimum 2 times. Optimally, you're strength training around 3 to 4 times a week. And we're talking about focusing on full body compound movements. So things like squats, deadlifts, rows, push ups, and carries. You really want to include, especially as we're aging, this is something else I've really gotten into in the last 3 years, mobility and core stability work. They're really kind of our protectors from getting injured as we age. A little bit of balance training can be great as we're aging. So even you don't have to get super specific in the gym with this. You could literally just every day you could stand on one leg while you brush your teeth, right? That's just a great way to add some balance training in. Try to put your socks and shoes on with just one foot, standing on one foot. And then if you love cardio, that's awesome. Okay. But just pair it with strength training too, and do not overdo long duration, high intensity cardio that really can backfire on recovery and hormone health. And I'm going to admit, because some of you who know me and follow me, um, I love long distance bike riding. And so I've really had to adjust how I do this. So for me, when I'm riding my bike, I do go for hours and hours and hours because I really like it. And I also like to do some bike packing racing. So I kind of need to, but I really try to stay in zone two. So I have a day where I'm doing sprinting, but the rest of my rides are going to be long and they're going to be slow, basically. I have, uh, I guess I was just thinking, I have this client in her 60s who recently told me her statement was, I just want to be able to carry my own kayak at 75. And that is aging strong. That's a clear, functional goal that shapes her workouts way more than lose 10 pounds ever did. And so that's what I'm asking you to move into, to start thinking about these functional goals as you're aging to become your top goal, not the I need to lose 5 pounds, I need to lose the 10 pounds, that kind of thing. Now, if you have 20 plus pounds to lose, and for your health and your mobility and to age strong, you need to be losing those pounds, absolutely. But you can still shift your mindset and be like, my goal is to age strong and age healthy. And so, what comes along with that goal is going to be things in how we feed ourselves. How do we get that extra weight off our bodies? But we can do it in a mindset that is still focused on aging strong. All right, third part of this: recovery, rest, and hormone support. A little bit on a soapbox these days about that as well, just because of some personal things I've gone through. But bottom line, sleep, as you know, it's so important. 7 to 9 hours minimum. It is not optional. Your strength gains, your mood, and your metabolism, your appetite all depend on it. Next one, take deload weeks. Rest is not weakness. It's where the magic happens. For those of us who are sort of these amateur athletes, or if you're like me and you really have a lot of like sport performance goals, you really want to make sure you're taking deload weeks, that it helps so much as we age to be able to give us then our optimal performance. Managing stress, huge one. Chronic stress wrecks our hormones and our recovery. So things like daily breath work, going to therapy, walks, time in nature, whatever works for you, but building that in to your daily routine, building in stress management techniques into your daily routine becomes really, really important. And then you can consider tracking your cycle if you're in perimenopause, or obviously you're not tracking your cycle if you're in menopause, but just like you want to think about if you are in perimenopause, what's happening with your cycles. If you're in menopause, how you're feeling. Our training and nutrition needs really can shift big time in this area. So I know I wish I had some of this information when I hit 40. I had some other issues with thyroid going on then that I had no idea about. But I just wish this education had been out there, 10 years ago, because I really was starting to go through these things of like, why am I feeling this way? Why is my mood so low? Why can't I perform physically like I want to? It was all these things. And so if I had understood what's going on hormonally, it might have helped a lot in regards to how I chose to train, how I chose to eat, all those sorts of things. So just understanding where your hormones are at can be really, really helpful. And then, yeah, supplements can help. And always check with your provider before you start anything. I'm just going to share with you, I can't tell you what to do. I'm not your therapist, I'm not your doctor, but I can tell you what I like for aging strong, what I use for aging strong. My number one is creatine, helps with muscle strength and also muscle maintenance, as well as now we know huge things for the brain, particularly for women. A few studies recently have come out showing that if you want a little bit more in-depth knowledge on that, I would suggest just you can Google those studies and read through them. Magnesium glycinate. I don't know if it's glycinate or glycinate, but magnesium glycinate is how I pronounce it. Before bed, that's for sleep plus recovery. Our biggest recovery happens while we're sleeping, so that helps promote it. Omega 3s, That's going to help with inflammation. That's going to help with heart health. Collagen plus vitamin C. You all, this, like if you're taking a collagen supplement and it does not have vitamin C with it, or you're not taking vitamin C in another form while you're taking the collagen, these are the kinds of things you want to know, because then you're just kind of wasting money and time and all the things. So make sure your collagen has vitamin C in it. Most of you know I really like the brand Fizzy Vantage for this. And in the episode description, there's always links to the products I use and I have vetted and I feel very strongly about. And so you can always use that link for a discount as well. But you're looking for a product of collagen that has vitamin C with it. That's going to be, yes, that helps with the skin and all our collagen and makes us look younger, longer, the aesthetic part. But actually, for any of us, it really helps with joint stuff. So you just, that's just one of the top ones on my list. And then protein powder. I use it every day. It helps me hit my protein targets without stressing out about it or me needing to meal prep so much, all those things. So it's just an easy way to hit my daily protein target. All right. So aging strong really is a lifestyle. It's not a phase. It's definitely a way of conceptualizing our lifestyle. This mindset shift also really changes how we handle off days. So you're gonna, if you can adopt this mindset and really embody it, you're gonna stop quitting every time you miss a workout or eat something or go off plan, right? Because right now I know where a lot of you are at. I used to be there too. Every time you miss a workout, every time you eat something off your plan, you go into screw up mode. You just quit, right? Until you go and go and go, and then you feel so terrible about yourself. You start the diet over, you start the workout plan over, and then the cycle repeats. When we adopt this mindset, when we embody this mindset of aging strong, you're not going to do the quitting anymore. You might miss a workout, you're going to eat something off plan because none of us are perfect. And you're just going to be like, all right, it's fine. Just next meal, better choice, all those things. It just gets easy to keep it going. You're going to stop saying, I'll start over Monday, right? How many times have you screwed up your plan and it's like, okay, well, I'll start over Monday. And then you have a few days where you're just like chowing down and, not doing your workouts because you're just like, I'm going to start Monday. I'm going to start Monday versus just being able to be okay and not get into shame about going off plan or missing a workout. So you're never again going to say, I'll start over Monday. You're going to, with this mindset adoption, you're going to really you're going to keep showing up because you're in this for the long term and you trust that consistent effort over time leads to incredible results. This is not about perfection, it's about direction, right? Forward. We're always moving forward. And even when we backtrack a step, just a quick interruption to tell you about a product I really, really love. This is David protein bars, and they are the best out there with the highest protein content of any other bar with the amount of calories. So these have the highest protein content and the lowest calories out there and very limited sugar. They give you exactly what you need. Fuel that works without the unnecessary junk in them. And whether you need a quick post workout snack or something to keep you going during a busy day, or you need to get your protein in the mornings for breakfast and you don't have a lot of time, these bars have you covered. And as a listener, you get an exclusive discount. Use davidprotein.com/Heather. So again, davidprotein.com/Heather to save on your order. And if you want, you can just scroll below to the episode description, and there's a link right there for you that you can click on and get you there immediately. It's not this super scary, disappointing, shame-based place to be because we have the mindset of, I am aging strong. I know like things like this are going to come up, but it's so cool because the next workout, the next meal, my next choice in my behavior can absolutely align with my goals again. So it's always about that consistency. It makes it easy to stay in consistency. Okay, so let's wrap it up. Let me ask you today, what would your habits look like if your goal was to age strong? What would you eat? How would you train? How would you care for your body, mind, and soul? What would you let go of? By the way, you could pause, repeat those. I'll repeat them here in a second, but these could be your journal prompts for the day. What would you eat? How would you train? How would you care for your body and mind and soul? And what would you let go of? Because when you make aging strong the goal, you stop chasing fads, which are exhausting and get you nowhere. You start actually building habits. You start to actually take action. And you become the kind of person who climbs, bikes, hikes, walks, lives with strength, joy, and freedom well into the years ahead. By the way, if you're not athletically minded, that's fine. But I want you to think about, how do you want to be playing with your grandkids, right? How would you like to stay in your home and be mobile and functional well into your 90s, right? No nursing home, things like that. So you want to become the kind of person who really can live with strength, joy, and freedom well into your years ahead. All right. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I hope this mindset shift lands in your heart the way it's landed in mine. If it resonated, share the episode, tag me, shoot me a message. I'd love to hear how you're choosing to age strong this week. Until next time, keep aging strong, keep showing up. We can do this. Take care. We'll talk soon.
The information in this podcast is intended to provide a broad understanding and knowledge of healthcare topics. This information is for educational purposes only and should not be considered complete and should not be used in place of advice from your physician or healthcare provider. We recommend you consult your physician or healthcare professional before beginning or altering your personal exercise, diet, or supplementation program.
Did you know you can find a lot more help from me on my website? Go to heatherheynen.com. Heynen is spelled Heynen, and there you will find links to my online courses, how I work with clients one-on-one, as well as online with my coaching and counseling services that I offer.